thought they were a little bit further along, that we could maybe sneak by. I did say it was okay, but I think that was when they were actually in the bush. So yeah, like squirrel was keeping very, very, very quiet. Didn't hear a peep from it, so I think it was hoping it wasn't going to be seen. It obviously sat very still for quite a long time, because he was making his way into the tree quite slowly. And obviously I had a good tactic of sitting still, moving higher up into the tree, leopard following, and then ran straight down the tree and out. Maybe if it had jumped from where it was originally, that leopard may have caught it. We're gonna continue the drive. I think the rhino have been seen in the area fairly recently now, so we'll drive down around a couple of dams and see if we can catch up with the rhino. We had a beautiful sighting, myself and Patrick, a couple of days ago with a herd of elephants moving past a sleeping group of rhino, which was very nice. There was 2 of them there. Even a little baby elephant charged them, which was quite fun. Okay. Just while we're here, okay, I can put this up here. I'll put those there if you can maybe get a picture of them. Can you see these ones quite nicely? I'll just move them forward. Okay, alrighty, I'm in again. Sorry, Jared, can you say again? Yeah, no, I'm just putting my earpiece in, and hopefully I can get a little bit closer to the microphone for everybody again. So I was just asking Patrick if he could see the 2 bits of dung that I put here. So just to show you the size difference, and I'm hoping you guys at home will be able to recognize which one this one is. It's fairly recognizable. It's got some leaves in it here and some bark, but I just wanted to show a size difference for those of you who've never seen this before. So I'm hoping you guys are coming up with the right answer of elephant for this one. With the bark and the leaves, it's something that you look for when looking at elephant dung. And the fact that it's just dropped on the road, they don't communicate with the dung, so that it's not really any point to make toilets. But the real reason why I stopped was for this one here, this little one. And I just want to ask you folks at home what you think it might come from. So if we can maybe get some shout outs from the chat rooms or emails, just to see what you guys think. Now I got it just from in the road here, and there's a couple of piles in the road. But if you have a think about what we see in this area, and I would say just to show you the size difference. So is there any answers coming back as yet, Jared? Aha, awesome. So we're not able to fool you today. This is awesome. So you guys are saying impala dung, and that is what it is. Now blesbok, who we don't get here, looks very similar to impala, but blesbok, as I say, you don't need to worry about it being here. It tends to be a lot more longer and thinner than the impala dung. But the blesbok have a white face and fairly white stomach, very, very dark back. Quite a beautiful antelope, but you find them more on the grassland, whereas here we have obviously the mixed grassland with the savanna. Excuse me. So we have the impala here. They eat the leaves, they eat the grass. And again, if you're looking at dung or tracks, you try and think of what you might find in the area. So right away, I know I don't need to worry about blesbok being here because it's not the right habitat. But yes, impala, it could have been wildebeest, but it is a little bit small for wildebeest. Obviously, a baby wildebeest, possibly, but the trick with wildebeest is that they stick together. Quite often you get clumps stuck together, and it does tend to be a little bit larger. You'd probably get the wildebeest probably being that sort of size, so the right size for the impala. Probably from a male, looks like there is the beginnings of a midden here, quite possibly. But again, with impala males and with wildebeest males, you'll get the toilets, the middens, and you quite often get, especially the wildebeest, with a gland in between the hoof. He'll dig or paw the ground, and then he'll sit in the midden, roll around, get the scent all over him as well. And that's, sometimes you can actually smell it. It's quite strong. So just to show you the size difference between the dungs and what you might see. And as I say, today you guys aren't fooled, so I'm glad to hear that.
So I can put it in your mouth and spit it out?
It's a little bit too wet. If it was a bit drier, I would have done. I have done it before. Unfortunately, this one's just a little bit too wet with the moisture from the air. But I will do it, and I will do it on air one day. But I have to find a lot drier dung. But Patrick will definitely have to come and join me if I find some today. But I will do it. You can hold me to that one. And those of you wondering what on earth was I going to do, it's an old Afrikaans game. So obviously in years gone by there was no TV, and you had to make your own entertainment. And it's called box roll competition. And basically you take a piece of impala dung. Okay, I never knew the last word for it. Just say it again for me. Bok, drol, spook.
Spook, something
Spook.
like that.
See, I'm still learning Afrikaans, you see. But you'd put the piece of dung in your mouth and you spit it out. And the one who can spit the dung the furthest is the winner. And as I say, I will definitely do it for you at some stage, but not with such wet dung, I'm sorry. It's not my cup of tea. But generally, if you're going to use dung, you generally use impala dung, which is what that was. So I'm glad to see everybody's getting to know that dung. It's one of my favourite subjects.
Pure subject.
Very much so. It's amazing how much you can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Even just with the size difference with the elephant dung, you can tell the elephant, just by looking at it, doesn't have a good digestive system. So even if you're not sure, if you come across some dung, you can see if it's quite large with very large pieces in it. Regardless of if you know what the animal is, you know it's got a very poor digestive system. So that already should help to eliminate certain species and help with the identification of it. If it's small like the impala dung, it's got a 4-chambered stomach, it's got a very good digestive system, it's got very, very fine particles in it. So you're looking at your ruminants. The largest piece of dung from the largest ruminant is from the giraffe, and that's about that sort of size. I don't know if you can see. So that'd be the size of a giraffe dung. We have some sweets in England called Maltesers, and I think they are around the world as well. And it's probably about the size of a Malteser. is such a beautiful morning this morning, it really is. Such a pleasant temperature.
It's a beautiful blue Monday, Tara.
It is, hey? So that's what's brilliant about this job, you forget Monday. Yeah. 6 weeks we don't have a Monday. Although we don't have weekends either.
Nuh-uh.
All our weekends come at once.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just gonna see if we can get Patrick to show you the tree that the elephant was eating earlier. I don't know if you can get a nice close-up of the tree
back
here.
slightly?
Back a
It
bit
might
more.
help maybe. More.
Just there. Just want to see if we can just show you those thorns there. See if I can maybe take a branch off if you can't. Can you get a nice picture of shot with the thorns in or not? I'm asking because I don't want to get caught up in it.
You can't pick up any phone.
So I'm going to practice my Afrikaans again. So apologies to any Afrikaans speaking people. I'm still trying to learn Afrikaans. I'm still trying to get the pronunciation right. But this tree in Afrikaans directly translates as a shiny leafed wait a bit. So it's a blink bla wag 'n bietjie. I'm hoping I said it right.
Wait a little.
Yeah, shiny leaf, wait a little bit. Should I take a branch off the tree or is it working? You get the
Maybe you're
thorns.
just going to point out the ferns and leaves and that sort of stuff. Might help.
Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Can you see that nicely, Patrick?
I'm just going to
Okay,
zoom
that
into
way.
it.
So you can see the thorn here sticking out.
So they
And
can
the
hardly hear
thorn-
you.
Sorry?
To speak up, they can hardly hear you.
Oh, I need to put my ear in. Okay, so you can see the long-
Is it a focus quickly?
the long thorn and the curved thorn this side. So hopefully you can see that, and that's in all of the tree. As I say, if you walk into it, and these thorns, this is quite a small branch, you do get slightly larger thorns as well. And believe me, even if you just walk past it, it just catches onto anything and everything. So that's the buffalo thorn that the elephant was eating earlier, and hence I was wincing every time he was eating the branch and wrapping his trunk around this branch because of all these thorns. So it just goes to show how thick the skin can really be on an elephant's trunk. And I just bought a leaf there just to try and show you the leaf as well. There we go. Oops. Now, is it showing up quite nicely or not really? Don't know if you can see the shininess on it, but it's very, very shiny for a leaf. I don't know if you can see. So quite a nice tree. I don't know if you got the lichen on there before, Patrick. So there's a lot of lichen that I just noticed on the tree.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah. Is it possible to go back to it?
No problem.
Because lichen is it's a symbiotic relationship between algae and fungi, and there's many different species of algae that may combine with one of 5 species of fungus. And The fungus will provide somewhere for the algae to live. It will provide the nutrients and the water, and the algae provide the food through photosynthesis, just like the rest of the green plants. And what's quite interesting is, obviously this is found throughout the world, and there's somewhere between 15 and 30,000 species of lichen, and there's been so many uses for it throughout the world. The Egyptians apparently used some lichen to, once they took out the organs from a body that was going to be mummified, they would stuff lichen into the body cavities to try and keep the shape of the body. In England and here in Africa, species can be used as medicine. And if there's any Swedish viewers watching, or if there's anyone from Scandinavia or anyone that knows this, because I've also found that on a website that pigs were also fed it in World War II in Sweden as a substitute for food. So I don't know how true that is, and every time I had Swedish guests I asked them, and they haven't heard that before. So if there's anyone that can verify that for me, that would be great. So it's been used all over the world. In India it's been used for shampoo, so many different uses. Quite an incredible thing, and their role in life is, you obviously find them on trees as well, but you also find them on rocks, and they're a very good indicator of very clean air. There's only one species that I know of that can survive in polluted areas, and that's in Britain, and I think that's the bright orange one. And I'm not too sure how they've been able to adapt to that, because that's sort of the whole thing about the relationship and about the lichen, that they're unable to process polluted air. But nevertheless, it's managed to survive and adapt. But they also find them on the rocks, and on the rocks it helps to break down the rock, and that's where you get some of your dust particles from, is the lichen that breaks down the rocks, obviously trying to utilize the minerals, and it helps to create the soil. And so one of those things that goes by unnoticed quite a lot of the time, so it's always nice just to stop and have a look at it when you get the opportunity to. As I say, it's been very useful throughout the world. So as I say, I just wanted to show you the tree the elephant was eating. But he was enjoying it, so it must be quite a tasty tree for them. So he was focusing on that tree completely. It still sounds like there's still quite a lot of vehicles in the leopard sighting. So as I say, I'll have a quick drive up towards Buffalo's Hook Dam and maybe see if we can try and join the sighting a bit later on. But we seem to be running away from the vehicles again, so we'll see how we go with that one, because they may lose them in the thick bush. You see the direction of these elephant tracks here, Patrick?
Nah, negative.
So we had a herd of elephants pass through here last night. Probably, I think it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Alright.
I'm just wondering if it's the same herd that we're seeing the tracks here this morning. We'll have a drive around where we last saw Karula as well. That's why I wanted to go onto Gary Cutline, into that drainage line. So it looked like Induna was heading towards that way, because I wondered if she had a kill there, but it was not last night, the night before, that we left Karula and Mishu in the drainage lining on Gary Cutline. So I'm wondering if he's making his way.
The cuckoo sitting in the tree there.
Ah. Kind of looked in that direction, it didn't register. Okay.
A little bit there. Okay.
Okay, we have a question coming through. This is a Burchell's cuckoo. Alright, welcome aboard, Brian. I hope you're doing well. And you're asking me to try and find some dung beetles. Believe me, I'd love to show you a dung beetle, but unfortunately it's just going into winter now and we don't see dung beetles during the winter. The eggs that the dung beetles would have busy rolling the dung away for, and that's the sole purpose of the dung balls, is to have somewhere for the female to lay her eggs and to have something for when the grubs hatch to eat. So all that will be going on now underneath the soil in the ground, and so the adults are finding somewhere to go and bury themselves for a couple of months while it's still very cold, and then when it's the mating season again, the breeding season in the summer, you won't be able to move for dung beetles. They'll be just flying all over the place, many different species. So the ones that you sort of really think about when you think about a dung beetle rolling the balls that are quite a lot larger than they are, they'll be around the giant flat dung beetles quite probably. But there are also species that don't roll dung balls. You get some that just lay the eggs in the dung. You'll also get some laying eggs in the tunnels below the dung piles. And you'll also get some dung beetles who don't bother rolling a ball or doing anything like that. They will steal a dung ball from the maker. So you have 4 different types of strategy for a dung beetle. As I say, if I happen to see one that's lagging behind, then I'll definitely try and show you, but unfortunately we have to wait until summer now, or the beginning of summer, spring, summer, before we get to see the dung beetles again. And that's pretty much true for most of the insects. Obviously, with it being very harsh sort of weather conditions during the winter, very little rain or moisture in the air, and obviously the extreme heats, then most of the insects go and look for shelter during the winter if they long-lived insects. Otherwise they'll die after one season. It's brilliant to see the Burchell's cuckoo at the moment. Been seeing it fairly often, but you don't always get a chance to see them like this. They tend to stick in the thicker bushes, and it's probably because it has been a little bit more chilly in the morning, so the Burchell's cuckoo has been coming out and sitting on the tree and just trying to warm up. You'll often see them with their feathers fluffed out, and obviously using the heat from the sun. You can see he's actually pointing his back towards the sun at the moment. That's obviously why we're seeing them a little bit more often. And when you hear them calling, they're fairly accurate in predicting the rain. The ones at Enterbenny were getting a lot better. They would call towards the end of my time there. They're actually getting within a week of being accurate for the first rains, and then pretty much on a daily basis, if they were calling, you knew that the rain was on its way in a couple of hours. Flown down. Obviously found something nice and tasty to have a look for. Again, just to let anybody who's joining us, just to let you know that we are out here in the African bush in Djuma Game Reserve, down here in Sabi Sands in South Africa, and we lie just to the southwest of Kruger, and the fences between Sabi Sands and Kruger have been dropped so that the animals can and do move quite freely between the 2 game reserves. and sort of combined, you're looking about 2.7 million hectares of reserve. Sabi Sands, roughly about 65 hectares. And what we're doing here, we're going on a game drive. This is, if you came to Africa and you went on a game drive, this is what you would experience. We show you a bit of every aspect from the bush, from the mammals to the birds to the vegetation. If you go on a night safari, then hopefully the stars as well. And we just try and show you what the bush has to offer, and obviously showing you the animals like the elephants and the leopards as well, interpreting their behavior, telling you a bit about them. Okay, and just to let you know, this is completely live. This is 100% live, so what we see, you see real time. And that to me is absolutely phenomenal, and I think when I was at school it was completely unheard of, and just amazing. Just about nearly 20 years later, how far technology has moved on to be able to do this. Pretty phenomenal.
Any change, Jared?
Just the viewers following us, we're not on a road that's on the map. I've turned just from Mvubu Road onto the Firebreak Road that leads towards Gowrie Pit Line. So we're not on a road that's on the map at the moment, as far as I know. I don't think it's on the map. But it's basically running parallel with Buffelshoek Hook Line. So Buffelshoek Hook Line's just to the left of where we're driving now. And just to let you guys know who's who, for those of you joining us maybe for the first time, we've got myself, who's your guide this morning, and I'm Tara, and Patrick's joining me on camera, and we have Jared in final control. So if there's any questions you'd like to ask, then Jared will be able to radio through them to me, and you can email finalcontrol@safari.tv. Anything you'd like to ask about the bush? I say you heard Brian asking if we can find any dung beetles, and as I say, if I can try and find it, I will. But unfortunately, we have to go with the seasons as well. Missed the update, so I just want to try and find out if there is space. Try and pull back into the leopard sighting, but I think there is still 3 vehicles there. Heard anybody pulling out the sighting yet. I think we'll carry on making our way up towards Buffelshoek Dam, and then I'll hopefully hear if there is any space after we've been up there. tailed drongo was just sitting right next to us in the road, but he's just flown off. There he is, he's just sitting in the tree there. I don't know if we're going to be able to get him, Patrick.
It's got back slightly.
Oh, and there's a crested barbet that just flew off as well.
No,
Oh,
it's
no,
gone.
there they go. There's a crested barbet, and then the Aramark babblers are calling.
Coming to the border now, so I'll let you know if I'm there, okay? Thanks, so I'm in the mobile now. Yeah, my deadline, please. I'm coming. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think that was another vehicle joy, so it still sounds quite busy. So I don't know if you could hear the babblers, but they quite a cacophony of sound. It's quite incredible. And if you have them right in the bedroom window, my word. Believe me, I had southern babblers. Oh.
Stopped up here.
Sorry?
It's a pretty ball in there.
I don't know. Are we still getting breakup, Jared?
I'm sure if you...
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
If static will be fine.
I thought we were still having breakups, so I was just trying to get to the top of the hill there.
Yeah, just stop.
Where can you see him?
There.
Oh, there. And looks like there's a female through there as well. Can you still see him?
No, it's gone.
As he moves through.
Sorry, Fox.
There's a beautiful kudu bull, but it looks like he's in camera shy this morning. And it looks like there's a female still through there. Can you see her?
No, there's lots of bushes on the way. There's one bush just overhanging.
There he goes. He's just through here now.
There's two tracks are just...
Oh, they're just here?
Yeah, just
okay.
right
Try
here.
that then. Going from Buffalo's Hook Cut Line onto another little 2-track. It's a fire break, and it looks like this kudu bull's going to come right out in front of us, hopefully. I'm just going to stop here. Hopefully he's going to stay relaxed and walk in front. Beautiful bull. Got what, about 1.5 turns on his horns. They can reach up to about 3 turns. See if he can move forward slightly. He didn't take the path I was hoping he was going to. Let's see if I can duck my head.
They're coming out this side, Heading it through this block. I just let drive around and see.
Again, very easy to tell kudu bulls from the females. The bulls have horns, and what's quite interesting is the antelope who live out on the plains, quite often both the female and the male have horns, because obviously on the open plains there's not really going to be much chance to be able to defend themselves with the bush, whereas antelope living in the bush like this, there's a female, she's just past this tree here. Don't know if you're going to be able to get her.
And it's not as balls feeding now, just stop here quickly.
Or can you get him?
Yeah. Just...
Obviously with the antelope living in the bush, they have the possibility of using the bush to camouflage themselves against, so they stand and they'll freeze if there's a predator around and then run if the predator gets too close. And if they run through the bush, there is a possibility of the horns maybe being a disadvantage because they might catch them on low-lying branches or something. That's the theory behind it. Obviously there are exceptions to that general rule, but that could sort of account for why female antelope that live in the thick bush don't have horns, or quite often don't have horns. And obviously on the open plains it'll be quite beneficial for a female to be able to protect her young, so if she has horns then that's a good way of defending herself as well as her young. Displaying those horns beautifully at the moment. And if you look nicely, you can actually see the disruptive markings on the kudu. I heard once that it's supposed to look like a stone with bird droppings down it. Not really sure if I agree with that one, but that's one of the theories that I've heard. But you can see the wide markings on the body. Again, each one very, very unique, very individual. They can have maybe 1 or 2 stripes right through to about 13 stripes on their body. And the disruptive markings on an animal helps to break up the body, so they look less animal-like when they are in the bush. Moved on. The females have also moved on as well. There he is.
It's back on the road.
Mm-hmm. Quite nice to see a bull so relaxed. They can live up to around 15 years old, 15, 18 years old. It's a very long-lived antelope. Especially the larger bulls, will say you get 3 turns on the horn and a real big silver mane down his back, and quite long fur on the front, under his neck. Beautiful, beautiful animals. Definitely one of my favourite antelope.
Camera doing it?
Okay, so we're just still on the fire break. There's a little pan just here, I just want to quickly check. And we're just driving towards Buffelshoek Dam at the moment. We'll see what's around there. And then, as I say, we'll just keep a check on the status of the leopard. So I'm quite keen to try and see if we can get back in there if we can. Sure, that cloud's building up quite a lot again. It was quite warm to begin with this morning, but the wind has picked up a little bit with a chill in the air, which is quite unusual for this time of year. We shouldn't really be getting rain this time of year. Obviously we had a bit of rain yesterday. It is quite unusual. We are going into winter, we shouldn't really get much rain at all, if any. And in South Africa, the rain this time of year tends to be on the coast. Okay, we have a question. Hi Mike, I'm glad to have you on board as well. And you're asking about, I assume it was the kudu horns you're asking about, and asking if they're solid or hollow. And on the inside it's actually a bone, Mike, and on the outside it's the keratin, obviously the substance that makes up our fingernails, hair, porcupine's quill, rhino horn. It's the same substance, and the keratin is the brown layer that you see over the top. And obviously that will be different with the deer. With deer, it's a layer of skin with velvet on it. So the deer and the antelope are different, but it is still bone sort of on the inside of the horn. So it is fairly solid. But the bone, from what I can remember, because I did actually have a couple of colleagues who found a skull and they actually opened up the bone. Oh, we've got some dwarf mongoose in the road here. And I remember seeing the bone, and it did look like there was a few air pockets in there as well, or a few holes in there, just to try and make it a little bit more lightweight. from what I can remember seeing. But they aren't hollow. And that's another difference between deers, now come to mention it as well, or come to think of it, is that deers, the antlers tend to be branched, so you tend to get a few fingers coming off of it, whereas the antelope, you tend just to get the one branch. It doesn't branch off into many other branches. So think about a moose or a reindeer or something. Think about those branches coming off, and you won't see that on the antelope. I'm just sort of sitting back a little bit far from the mongoose at the moment, because I want them to try and become fairly relaxed around us. And what I'm going to try and do is see if I can move down towards them and get a little bit closer to them without scaring them off. And remember, not all mongooses live as a family. But the dwarf mongoose and the banded mongoose in particular do live as a family. Apparently the collective noun is a business of mongoose. It's not too sure whether it should stand here and watch or follow the rest of the family into the bush. Looking for any insects around, any small I'm just trying to see what it's looking for. Yeah, any small lizards, anything like that. And I'm sure you've seen meerkats quite a lot on documentaries, and they are related to the meerkat. Meerkats are also a mongoose. But, there we go, sitting in the normal position. Are you able to get that there?
Yeah, it's gone.
Sort of using the sort of sitting on the back legs and sort of standing up, just to try and have a look over vegetation or termite mounds or whatever it is, just to give them that little elevation in height. You'll often find them sitting on logs, things like that. And they tend to use an abandoned termite mound to go and nest in. And you'll have the dominant pair who will have the offspring. And oh, there is a hornbill around here. I was looking for a hornbill because apparently they have quite a nice relationship with the hornbills, and they will quite often sit and wait for a hornbill to come in, especially if there's a hornbill that they've got a good relationship with. It has been seen that they'll sit and wait for a hornbill as the sun rises, and hornbills have also been seen going to where dwarf mongoose live and almost sort of knocking on the door, or knocking on the termite mounds, as is to say, you know, where are you? And they'll go and forage together. And I've been waiting to see, sometimes they've been seen playing with each other as well. I was hoping these dwarf mongoose might just come out if we sit here long enough, but it looks like they've moved off. There we go. Let's see what it's about. So the hornbill was just in the tree, just at the back. And here comes the hornbill. He's sitting on the tree. I think he might still be out of range for you guys, but he should come down. There we go. It's amazing you get such a change or such a difference in the families. Some families you can sit there and they'll play right in the middle of the road and not really be too phased about you, and then some families obviously don't see the vehicles on a regular basis and they're still a little bit unsure about what's going on. It looks like that's all we're going to see from them. Making our way down towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. Plenty of elephant activity around here. It all looks fairly old. Oh, we've got the white helmeted shrike here again. Awesome, okay. Again, just a small family of white helmeted shrikes. About 4, 5, 6. I think the most I've ever seen together is probably about 7 or 8. And quite often you'll get the Rietz's helmet shrike as well, a black helmeted shrike with a red eye or red eye ring. But these guys, I don't know if you could see on a close-up, but they had a yellow ring around the eye, quite prominent. And quite often you'll get the mixed birding parties, the same more possibility to detect predators. Okay, well, we got the hippos here. Let's see if we have Bob. Had Bob and one of the other young hippos playing here the other night. I'll keep a lookout in that. Apparently I think the crocodile likes this little spillway as well, apparently. Who's here? Hello, guys. All 4 hippo looking at us.
I was just in the area. I'm just going to quickly.
Yeah, there's a grey heron at the back there. Oh, okay, I think I've just seen 2 babies. There's one with the first hippo that we saw. There we go, and there's a very, very tiny one there. It looks like it is still the same group that we saw the other night. Now if we get the little ones' heads up for long enough, we might be able to see if they are or not. And again, if there is a crocodile in here, you don't need to worry about the babies. The females will be very, very protective over them anyway. And it's not really that often that you hear about crocodile and hippo really interacting like that. And remember, if you'd like to ask any questions, you just need to send them in to finalcontrol@safari.tv. And Jared will be there in Final Control to send them through via radio to me, so I'll be able to answer them live as we're sitting here watching these wonderful hippo and just checking out what else is around here at Buffelshoek Dam.
I'm back on the heron again.
Sorry?
I'm back on the heron again.
Oh, you're on the heron. We have the grey heron. I think this will be the grey heron who's been around quite a lot recently, and as I say, it is a very peculiar behaviour of wading into the deep water. And generally herons sort of should stick really to the shallows and sort of wait on for quite long periods of time, waiting for any fish to swim around them, and then they use the beak as a stabbing motion. And obviously with them eating fish, their bill can get quite dirty. What they do is they'll wipe their bill on the back especially, and they have what we call the powder down feathers. And those powder down feathers actually, as they grow, they start becoming very powdery and they break down, and what will happen is when they wipe their bills over these feathers, the dirt and the slime from the fish will stick to these feathers, and they have a little comb on their toe, and they'll then run the comb on their toe through the feathers, and obviously it'll pick out any of the powder down with the dirt stuck to it, and that's how they can keep the bill clean and the feathers clean. Yeah, we're just seeing the nostrils of little Bob by the looks of it. Oh, I think let's take a quick drive around the other side of the dam, just to see if the crocodile isn't around the other side. And then it sounds like there may be space for us to move back towards where the leopard are. So we might just get a little bit of breakup as we go through the dip here. We have a dwarf mongoose in front of us as well on the road. And they disappeared again. A little bit slippy there in that dip. Especially with the sun coming out, we might be lucky with the crocodile if he is still around here. Coming out here, this would be quite a nice spot for him to come and bask in the sun. it may have moved on. Looks like Bob's being very camera shy this morning.
The hippos are all under the water at the moment. Camera shy, as Tara says.
Keep seeing the nostrils of the youngsters there, I think. It looked like there was about 6 there, 4 adults and 2 babies by the looks of it. So we usually have a monitor here with us in front here, but we're trying to kit out the new vehicle, and we've had to take the monitor out that we would normally use, so we could actually see what you guys are looking at as well, what the cameraman's looking at. And so unfortunately you may have noticed if I'm talking about something else to what's going on in the screen, that'll be why. We've got a very cheeky hornbill right next to Jigger. She's sitting quite awkwardly. Now there's a vehicle that stopped on the other side, and I think that's what the hippos have got their full attention on at the moment. And for any of you who have not heard the hippo sound before, they kind of do a bit of a but obviously a lot deeper than that. Apparently there's a lot of communication that goes on underwater that we don't get a chance to hear unless you have a microphone underwater. Apparently they have clicks and whines of submission and these pulsed croaks. And they do have hairs on the chin, so it could be that the hairs help to detect these sounds underwater, because remember, anywhere you have hairs it's kind of a sensory organ. Obviously that's how your ear works. You have the hairs inside your ear, and as the airwaves hit it, it pushes the hair backwards and forwards, and that basically signals to your brain that there's a sound. So the same process could kind of be happening from the hairs of the hippo's chin, quite possibly. I know a friend of mine was telling me about some research that was going on about that, and that's how spiders also use those hairs on their web as a sensory organ to detect if there's any prey in the web. So quite a useful organ to have. I don't think we're going to be seeing Bob anytime soon, especially with the people being around. And I've had quite a good look around the dam. And I'm not seeing the crocodile, unfortunately. So I think we'll try and make our way to... It sounds like the leopards made their way towards Chelapan. So we'll see if we can make our way that side again.
Or come out across the road quickly on the southern side, but I'm waiting to come back at this point.
We might as well carry on up here. Drive a different road. You don't have to bypass the other people either. Station with the Ingwe photographer.
Can you follow me? Yeah. Or through here, but on the gravel. Inside.
Is there any station with the Ingwe photographer?
The Ingwe is on Giraffe Deep now. So, yeah, keep coming.
That, is there space for me?
There's 2 more now, you can come.
Thank you. Okay, it sounds like they're not towards Chelapan, which is where I thought I heard them say that they were. Sounds like Giraffe Dip now, so it probably is going to be better if we turn around and go back that way. Probably going to be slightly quicker. Hey?
I mean, yeah, just go via Warripan, Drakensberg Drive, and then down Central Road.
Okay.
It's just going to be quicker.
I always think these roads are a little bit longer than what they are, maybe.
Yeah. And it's quicker this side, yeah.
I have the hippo tracks. I think they were out grazing around here somewhere last night. Remember, hippos will utilise the safety of the water during the day, and obviously to protect their skin from the sun, and then they'll move out of the water at night, so they can move around under the cover of darkness, and they can travel quite a few kilometres away to go and find grazing. And they won't use the teeth. The teeth are far too long to use the teeth to crop the grass. They use the hard area on their lips to crop the grass, and then it gets transferred to the teeth for being mashed up at the back by the molars. think this is called Hippo Pools Road. Oh, there's another dwarf mongoose in the road. Go on. And around here we do have, there we go. Darted. I might just come out and see what's going on. I say it really is so nice to sit and watch dwarf mongoose. I say my old reserve we maybe saw them, I saw them probably about 3 times in 3 years. I'm just moving on around the log there. No, not wanting to play. We have very solitary mongoose as well, like the slender-tailed mongoose and the white-tailed mongoose. White-tailed tends to be highly nocturnal, so it's quite an amazing little creature or family that sort of can be nocturnal, it can be diurnal, live solitary or live in a group. So it really is quite an interesting little animal. And the pan was there. I was going to say, I'm sure there was a pan here somewhere. And there's nothing around there. Oh well. Okay, I'm going to carry on up here because I think this road is quite a long.
Yeah, it's quicker. We can
Oh,
send
is
the driver
this
just
one
up the
quicker?
road, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm still getting used to this little bit of area. I don't drive around here too often. Oh, I see. Okay.
So this is Quarry Pen, Frankenspec Drive, and then Sifter Road up ahead.
Ah, okay. That's where I've been getting myself confused. And as we come onto Central Drive, we may just get a bit of signal breakup as we go past Nyala. So it shouldn't last too long.
Yeah, thank you. Left one station on lock of the Kumakipan Ingwe, just north of Kirapis, on the shut in there. So barely on lock.
It's two leopards now.
Yeah, I just heard that. Sounds like Induna met up with his brother Mishu. He said that there's 2 Madora Mampimpan Ingwe, which is 2 Madora is male, Mampimpan is baby, and Ingwe is leopard. And we do use some of the English on the radio, but we also do use African names for the animals, just to avoid disappointment, especially for the guests. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to reach a sighting, especially in this type of area where you've got different parts of the reserve where you can and can't drive, and obviously the extent of the area as well. So if you have a sighting that's on one side of the reserve and you're on the other, it's kind of just helping to avoid the disappointment if the guests hear that there's a giraffe or something, or an elephant, that they don't get their hopes up to see it. Okay, and for those of you who are just joining us, my name's Tara, and we have Patrick on camera with Jared in final control, and this is live, 100% live. So what you are seeing is it's not edited. We are driving around looking for the animals, and at the moment we are on our way back, hopefully, to the two leopards that have been left on Central Drive. If you want to follow us with the map. I have gone the right way, haven't I? I'm confused myself now. And we did have Induna early this morning trying to hunt a squirrel in the tree, and unfortunately there's quite a few vehicles in and around the area, so we decided to make space and move on. So it sounds like there was 2 vehicles in the sighting, but now there's only 1 as we're making our way that side, so it sounds like it's quieted down a bit. So hopefully if we get a nice sighting of them, we should be able to stick with them a little bit longer. I was hoping we might bump into the crocodile up at Buffalo's Hook Dam, but it looks like he's either moved on or is keeping a very low profile. Okay, so this is where we might just get a bit of signal breakup with you guys, so do bear with us. Just going down into a lower area. And obviously we are now starting at the new time of 6:30, just to give you a bit more light with the animals. So we are still going to be out until about 9:30 this morning.
Stand by. Good morning, I'll be floating on the water. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if there's a question coming through from Jared, or whether it's just the microphone. Aha. Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. So if you do have any questions, feel free to email them through to filecontrol@safari.tv. I think it's a Monday morning. I think a lot of people have gone back to work. We've been having some quite nice animals this morning. We have also some quite interesting trees around as well. So as I say, I'm going to just try and keep making our way through to the leopard. We're probably about five minutes from them now. If that. Oh, 2 Franklin fighting. Starting to tell Franklin. You can see the very bright orange beak there. Oh, and a brown-hooded kingfisher just flew off. I didn't see from where it flew from. Again, we might just get some break up here.
Yeah, it's
You able
moving
to
to the
get the
grass.
Franklin, or has he moved off too quickly?
Moved up, it was too quick, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame. So it's nice just to have a look at the Franklin with the tail Franklin. The thing to look out for is obviously the size of it, but also to look at the orange bill and the legs. Nothing around the little pan here. Okay, we're just on Central Road at the moment. We just bypassed Nyala North and Nyala South.
It's rather natural because I can't really see with the sun behind us.
Ah,
Okay, thanks.
awesome, that's great to hear. We've been having a little bit of interference on the picture, so we've been trying to sort it out as we've been driving as well. It sounds like it's cleared up now. And hopefully with the sun coming out, I might find some dry dung that I might be able to show you the box trawl and how to do it. But if I don't do it today, I promise I will do it at some stage when we find some nice dry dung. We're just passing Hyena now, so we should be coming up towards Giraffe Dip, which is where these leopards are. Obviously the advantage of being out after 9 o'clock is we have half an hour if there is an animal that we can sit with, as all the game lodges, all the drives are going to be going back in by 9 o'clock. And I wonder, has the bull elephant made its way down to Gowrie Dam to have a drink yet, Jared? Seen him at all? Okay. I wonder if he's still around eating in that area then. I think maybe he made his way through to the drainage line. There, you can see the other vehicle. So that's a good indication that hopefully the leopard are still here. And fairly visible. Hello again. Is that okay to squeeze by you?
No, you can't.
Huh? No?
You can't squeeze past.
Oh, thank you. Are they tucked in the bush there? Okay.
This is the spot. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Let's see if we can turn around. I'm just going to turn the jig around and just try and point the same way that they're pointing. Might make it easier to try and see where they're looking. You say more in here. In here. Okay. It sounds like they moved quite far back. I'll just move a little bit further here. Can you see them at
anything?
all? Mm-mm.
Nothing. Just the bushes.
I'm not entirely sure where they're pointing. Just through the bush here.
Somewhere.
I'm just wondering, because I saw some tracks going in at the top there. Maybe it might be worth us following those in.
There's no visual overlap at the moment, folks. I'm just pointing the camera.
Oh,
The
hold
leopards are
on.
hiding it.
I think I've just seen it. Nope. What I thought might have been it is not.
Something looks like a leopard.
Okay. It might be worth us going in at the top there. I thought just where they were parked, they may have had a nice view of it. Just saw movement just up ahead of us. Yeah. I'm gonna try in from the top and just see if there's anything else, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. We had an elephant bull just at the beginning of the drive, so just down by Vuyatela on the access road, which is quite nice. So, yeah. And if you want to have a look at any hippo, then there's some in Gowrie and there's some in Buffelshoek Dam as well. But no crocodile. Sorry? No.
Never know, yeah.
So I'll just have a look at those tracks that go in the top and just see if there's anything that we can do. No worries. Alright, thank you. How's that tire doing, Patrick?
Yeah, just a log in.
Oh,
You can drive over it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Or not. It's just pushing us to the side. There we go. No worries.
Just fucked.
Okay, I was just trying to get an update from the guys who are in the vehicle. It sounds like they. I can't understand if they can actually see them or not. But they said that they moved further back, and I said there's some tracks I saw here, so I'm just gonna see if we can follow them in and just see if we can't try and relocate them at the back here. Got a big tree there.
Try 3, yeah?
So I was going to go just around a little bit further and just in that side.
But we're gonna be too far.
Sorry?
I think we're gonna be too far because the sun wind is frequency. I don't know if you can give it a go.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I think we're gonna be too far.
Because it's quite open here, that's all. Because could you understand, were they saying they could still see them, or did they think that they could still see them?
They say they can just see the spots
Oh,
in
okay,
the thick
so they could
bushes.
still...
Yeah. So they must be lying down in this long grass here.
Yeah. Okay, so just seeing if we can relocate them from the top side. Plan was to try and go in from there, so that it was fairly open. There's a lot of dead trees here, proving a little bit more difficult than I thought. I say sometimes it is worth trying. Sometimes you can be lucky. Okay, I think we need to think small here, Pat.
Duck and dive.
Yeah, very much so. Just trying to avoid knocking that tree over. That's it. Are you through? Caught. There we go. Alright. Well, we're in.
I'm just gonna show the people where they are and we can't get in there.
Yeah.
So there's...
Come on, boys.
somewhere there, pretty much.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
See how thick it is, folks. So it's impenetrable. It's down below the dip. It's behind the thick bushes where the camera is pointing at the moment.
we're just above the drainage line now. So just from where the other vehicle was pointing, they're pointing up here. So I was hoping they were going to be sort of in and around here, and hoping that it was just people not being able to come in this area. As I say, sometimes it is worth giving it a go, just in case that they've moved position. But it looks like, it sounds like they're trying to go in from the other side now. And you look that side with the Ingwe.
Oh, I can't see. I was clear to the year because he's gone.
Copy that. There's Lutu this side.
Thanks very much.
Copy, thank you.
Can you hear some Franklin starting downstream?
Yes. So it's quite possible that they've actually moved in the drainage line. Okay. Well, this drainage line would probably end up at Chelapan, hey? This is the drainage line that goes around the back of Chelapan. Just wondering whether it's worth, if we drive down towards there. Okay. So we got ourselves in here. Let's see if we can get out. So another road's just up ahead of us, but it was quite thick there. Quite a steep incline there. I think we should be alright coming out through here. I'm hoping. Alright, so we'll head down towards Chelapan. Just see if we hit it lucky with them. Doesn't sound like anything else has been sighted this morning. So we're going to head down towards Vulture's Nest and we'll come up around that area. Obviously Vulture's Nest is quite a way from this drainage line here. But it will get closer, so I'm hoping if they are moving, then we might just hit it lucky with them again. That's the plan.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
No, I was saying that's the plan.
Oh yeah.
It's still very special to watch Induna trying to catch the squirrel though. That was brilliant. So not too many flowers that are still blooming this time of year. and the trees are obviously starting to die back. And most trees will keep their leaves. They'll just sort of shrivel up a little bit, but there will obviously be trees that do lose their leaves, the deciduous trees as well. But you can generally see a difference, especially when the rains hit later on in the year, in the summertime. You can generally see a huge difference with the leaves becoming a lot more greener again. Now I just want to stop here because I want to show you the other dung, and we don't get a chance to see it too often. Now I wanted to show you these two pieces. I don't know if you can see sort of a close-up with both of them, but the one on the right, or your left, is quite wet, whereas this one's quite dry. And hopefully you can see there's a difference with it from the elephant dung, in that you can't see any leaves or any bark. It's just the grass, and hopefully you can see that. So this is from a white rhino, because white rhinos obviously eat mostly grass, and I wanted to actually just wanted to show you the difference between them, because they do use a midden, and obviously middens being toilets. So you can see the old and the new, and they just go in the midden every time they walk past here, and they communicate with the dung. Territorial marking for males and females. When they want to mate, they'll come to a male's midden. So just to show you that, and this is actually one of the few middens that I know of now here, and I'm hoping to find a few more. And just feeling this, it's still fairly warm, but I'm not seeing any tracks. So I just want to have a quick look around, but I'm not seeing any tracks here. There has been a lot of movements of the vehicles, but there has been quite a lot of heat that's been sort of stored here. So a lot of it has been broken down, so I don't think it's too fresh. So even with all this movement of the vehicles along the road, it's sort of wiped out a lot of the tracks there as well. But it's still worth keeping an eye out for the rhinos around here. And so if we're going to go down Vulture's Nest Road, we have seen them down there quite a lot. We'll obviously have a look in the drainage line as well. But just to show you the difference there between the two. Very, very dry this. Good for starting fires actually. If you want to get some kindling, elephant and rhino dung make very good kindling. All sorts of smells on the vehicle this morning. Kept smelling elephant earlier and then realising it was the elephant dung that I had on that earlier. And hopefully you can actually see the rhino midden there quite nicely. But when it's broken down like that, especially in the summertime, that'll be due to the dung beetles. But this is probably a male's midden, because it's been broken down as well with the feet. So the scuffing of the feet, and the males will then get the scent on their feet, and as they walk, they can mark the territory as they walk. I've got hippo tracks that have been half driven over. Probably from the hippos at Gowrie Dam this time. It looks like they came from this direction, so probably had a walk around, maybe even went to Impala Plains. Oh, someone else has been around here. The buffalo. Okay, the buffalo headed down here as well. Quite a lot of flies around it. Obviously flies are quite a nice indication that it's still fairly fresh. They might also be in this drainage line. Possibly from a Duggar Boy. I'm not seeing too many tracks from the herd. And this is where it's quite useful to have Patrick on the back, at least he's quite high up and you can see in through the vegetation. You've got hawk eagles, you've been doing well, you're spotting today, hey?
Yeah.
Now what's quite interesting is the elephants at Entebbe would have a slightly different diet to the elephants down here, in that obviously the different trees. And what we have, or what we did find at Entebbe, which was my old reserve, quite a bit further north from where we are now, they had to eat the bushes and the trees that actually elephants down here in the Kruger would probably turn the trunk up at unless they had nothing else to eat. And the reason being was the tree species that were in Entebbe or in and around Entebbe were maybe less nutritional or higher in tannin content than some of the trees here that the elephants get to eat here. And we had a lot less from the acacia trees as well. So it's quite interesting that obviously the different rock type can dictate what trees you have. But it's still quite amazing that elephants can survive in a lot of different habitats with a lot of different vegetation. So say like Savania gardenia, which we had a few of up there in the Waterberg. The elephants here would probably turn their trunks up at it, but that was one of the trees that our elephants would try and eat if they could. Okay, so we're getting fairly close to the drainage line now. I'm just listening out for any animals calling that might signify if the leopard are there or not. think it might be worth just checking around the back of Chelapan. What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah.
That little area. I wonder if they're making their way to that side.
Word 1,
I think they would have made it up here just yet. As I say, we'll have a look around the back. Some elephant tracks here. Maybe somebody's drinking at Chelapan. We're still on Vulture's Nest Road. We're just coming up between now. And Chelapan will be in our sights in the next couple of minutes. I must admit it's a lot more settling for me, obviously being here for just over 2 months now. Actually know where I am on the reserve. It's very, very unsettling when you first arrive and you're trying to get used to all the roads and how they work, and especially when the fire breaks are involved as well, and you think, well, where on earth does this fire break come in, and why is this road not leading to where I think it should be and everything. So it does take a little while to get used to an area, but I think, so apart from the areas where I've not driven too much, like around by Guari Pan, and especially on that side of the reserve that or the part of the reserve that we traverse, it's very, very unsettling not knowing. And coming from a reserve that's 22,000 hectares, and I knew every single road like the back of my hand there, but obviously it was there for a good 3.5 years. And coming to a 1,000 hectare area and still being able to get lost is very, very unnerving, I can tell you. Some people ask why don't we have signposts, but there's not really any need for it, as long as you do get used to the area eventually, but it does take a little while. Oh, we have an Impala here at Chelapan. In the last few minutes of the drive. Impala looks quite intent on something. Okay, we have a question coming through. Unfortunately, I didn't get too much of that question, Jared. If you can try and send it again. But the Impala looks a little bit unsettled. What do you reckon, Pal? Can't tell if there was another Impala in the area. But he was certainly looking into the bush. Yeah, if we can try the question again, say you're breaking up quite badly there. Okay, I think I've got that now. From Alan. Yeah. And you're just asking how much visibility do you think a leopard has at night? They definitely do have very good visibility at night, but obviously the sense of smell and their hearing is also very, very acute. I forget the amount of receptors actually that they have in the eye compared to us, but I think it's a lot higher than ours. And obviously the rods which help them to detect the dark and the light will be obviously in greater numbers as well. But very, very good senses at night. I have heard, I think lion have 6 times better eyesight than ourselves, and I think leopard probably will be around the same, obviously them being in the same group, and the eye structure being very, very similar. So yeah, I think from what I was trying to gather from Jared is also something about the red spectrum, or the UV spectrum, and I would certainly say their vision would be more towards the infrared side, but I don't think they'd be able to see infrared, because they obviously, if we use our infrared camera, it would have some form of effect on them. And if ever you've watched the night cameras where they've used infrared, the animals kind of relax, and it doesn't really bother them even if you have the light on them. So I don't think it really goes into the infrared, because we would see that change in behaviour for sure. It's certainly up towards that end of the spectrum in the reds rather than in the UV. Alright folks, well I've come to the back of Chelapan to see if the leopards were going to make the way this side. Apparently Mark was telling me, and I think Patrick said to me a couple of times, that they've hit it lucky with the leopards being at the back here. Do they usually sit in this tree, Patrick? Is it usually this tree they go for?
No, in this thickets here.
Oh, and just in the thickets.
And the pen, yeah.
So I was hoping we may have caught them here. They may still make the way here, but unfortunately I can't see much of them around here. So it looks like we might have to say goodbye here.
You borrowed there, see that?
Sorry?
This barrier, it's relatively
Oh
new.
yeah, it looks like there's a few tracks in there, hey?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to climb out too far. But I don't know if you can see the burrow just behind me.
So the first tracks there on the
Yeah.
soft sand, yeah.
And obviously we don't want to go walking too close to that just in case there's something that darts out. It does look like there's possibly warthog tracks there. And warthogs, they'll come out with their tusks. So unfortunately I'm going to have to say goodbye folks. It is coming towards the end of the drive. I hope you really enjoyed Induna climbing around in the tree. That was just fantastic. Obviously the bull elephant to begin with, and the hippos and the dwarf mongoose along the way as well. So thank you very much for joining me, and myself, I'm going to be saying goodbye from me and the rest of the crew. Take care and enjoy the drive this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and Jared will be able to tell you who's going to be presenting on camera and in final control. So have a great day or great night, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.
Bye.